Welcome to the ISE Annual Conference 2023, live from Barcelona. Today on Cinema Luxe Presents, we are meeting with Richard Reid, Managing Director of Aonyx. Thank you for coming on the show, Richard. How are you finding? That's all right. How are you finding ISE so far?
Busy. It's actually really lovely to see because after, I suppose, lockdown, it kind of trickled back. This year it's come back, I think, with passion, some drive and some determination. Everyone seems to be enjoying themselves.
Good. Yeah. Okay, so as MD of Aonyx, you have built a phenomenal business with a large majority of your clients being the UK's most prestigious house builders. How did you go about achieving that? Was it by design from the very beginning or something that Aonyx evolved into?
I would say, being a little bit cheeky, punching above our weight to start with. We were lucky when we started off. We got in with a client that I suppose by rights we should never have been in with. But you push hard enough for long enough,
you take your chances.
You get in, absolutely, and that's what it was. And we built up from there. That allowed us to do our first cinema, which ironically we are still working on in the same development 10, 12 years later.
All right.
So it's
not
been,
the same room.
No. It's not the same room. They decided they didn't like it. They wanted to change it.
Great company, but take a while.
No, so that's how we started. And then it's like everything else. It's reputation. You know, it's the same with you. You know, when you start somewhere, you do something well. You strive for excellence, and that's always your goal. You've got excellence in you're looking ahead, and you're looking at that. You'll always find you achieve, people recommend.
And it's how you deal with, because we're in the real world. Sometimes jobs don't go fully to plan, but it's how, I think, as well, how you react when things don't go to plan. Do you react with integrity? Do you attack it? Do you get it done? Because I think that's what separates, actually. I think it's easy when everything is going to plan. It's when it's not how you react.
Well, that's when you shine,
Yeah.
and that's when you show the strength of who you are, your integrity, as you just said,
Yep.
and your ability. Because equipment, I mean, for us anyway, equipment is the most likely part of something that's going to fail. And when it does, and like today, when you've got a real shortage of supply and something needs to be opened, the completion date doesn't change. You're up against it. You've got to find a way around it, and it's being, this is a military term, but it's being able to revise, to adapt, to overcome, to get yourself through it at any cost. And if you can do that goes towards excellence, being successful. Look, all I would like to say, as we're talking, if you're going to edit this, is that it's an absolute pleasure working with you. We have an amazing relationship with Cinema Luxe. They're like a brother company. I would say sister company, but I would say brother company.
Okay.
And it's, for us, it will, wherever we go, you will go.
Thank you.
And I really mean that. And it's I can't stress that enough. So, brother, thank you.
That's nice.
Likewise.
Bit of love on the stand.
Absolutely.
That's what we like. Brotherly love. Okay, so next question. Where do you see the growth opportunities in this sector, and specifically, how do you feel that expansion into interior design and fit out is part of that?
Okay, so what we do is never going to change insofar as distributed audio, distributed video, so on and so forth. It's going to be the same. What will change is how the products that drive that. So I think there's a lot, certainly on the AV side, it probably goes towards cloud-based, because black boxes, inherently they're not green, they draw a lot of power. And yes, I get the people that put them in, maybe it's not an issue for them, but the manufacturers that provide them obviously are always looking at ways to reduce their carbon footprint. So the black boxes will get smaller, okay, and there'll be more cloud-based technology and less will be reliant, I believe, on processors and so on and so forth as time goes on. In terms of interior design, for us, it's two sides of the same coin. We are working in an environment where we're working with interior designers, we're working in new homes. Now, how big a stretch is it to work together doing that? Our touch points are cinema rooms. Our touch point might be, I don't know, a games room or something else. But to add that part into it, we touch anyway. So that's how I see it.
And I suppose it's slightly self-serving, but in terms of, I suppose there's one thing as well, is that the difference with working with an interior design contractor that understands what's needed from a technical point of view for the systems to really shine, as opposed to being at odds with an interior design somebody that don't understand that. You kind of, does that make a significant difference? Am I overplaying?
No, you're not. Absolutely makes a world of difference, because we will, most people don't understand what we do. And interior designers, and I don't blame them, because I don't understand what interior designers do. I don't have that. Okay, but what we are able to do when you're working with someone like Darren, like we're working with Patrick, that do understand what we do and understand what we do, it makes a big difference. It's a proper partnership that way. Because you don't get, what we've had in the past is someone will come and say to us, okay, we would like to have this TV in this area here, then they'll go and put curtains in that overlap where the TV is. And we said, well, we've given you
joined up thinking.
Yeah, there's no cohesion there. There's no collaboration. It's, well, this is what we're doing. You've got to fit into that. Well, okay, we've given you measurements. We can't shrink the TV, and we can't cut it down to size. That's what you've asked for. Whereas when you've got that more of a, I'm not saying every time, but when you're doing it together, there's a lot more collaboration.
And it gives you two sets of eyes on it as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
From a technical point of view, to try and do your due diligence and cut out issues and problems. You've got two sets of eyes on it that are aiming for the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
look, we make mistakes. To know that Darren, may have picked that up, or vice versa. There might be an error or something. We can try to Darren and say, look, Darren, this needs to be X, Y, Z. But then you're doing it. You're not doing it. It's not a finger pointing exercise.
It's the same common goal, isn't it?
Yeah, because you basically you both want to succeed, and that's where I think a lot of people fall down in this industry. Because everyone is it comes across to me, the AV industry is very much a cottage industry still after all this time. I know there's a lot of people here, but when you look at the UK, it's still quite small in terms of what it does, and it's because it's the people that are in it. We want to shine, we want to excel, and we want to achieve success. And the success is not a monetary success; it's success in terms of who we are.
Lovely.
And I want to do that with you.
Okay, if you're happy to move on, I have another question for you. So, Aonyx now have some 30 to 40 employees. As a company that has scaled very quickly, what are the challenges that this presents compared to working with a more compact team when you first formed?
I haven't got time to sit and go through it. There are too many. Okay, in a nutshell, I think we've got 35, 36 people who work for us, work with us, I should say, and you have got 35, 36 different challenges every day. Everyone's human, and everyone, I could turn around to you and say, look, I will push myself to the ends of the earth, and then beyond it, if I would help me achieve my goal. And I would say, Darren is exactly the same. I can't put my head on someone else's shoulders. I can't make someone else do that. I can employ someone to do that. I can employ someone to set them down. But there'll be other things, and their personality will dictate what they're like. You've got sheep and shepherds in this world, and very few people are shepherds. The majority of people are sheep. They want to be led, they want to be pulled along, or they can't be bothered. I'm going to stop here for a bit, and working from home hasn't helped that. And I'm not just talking about us, I'm just talking generally. So what I would say is, for us, the only way I've tried to make it work is by creating a family that everyone feels like they're part of.
Yeah.
Because that way you do have a common goal, And the other thing that's important to me is that I would never, ever, ever ask anyone to do something that I would say, either haven't done or not prepared to do myself. I don't put myself in a glass tower and say, right.
You just lose respect.
I just wouldn't do it. Whether it was my right to or not, I still wouldn't do it, because we've got an apprentice, okay? I'll sit down, I'll go and talk to him, and I'll give him a hand if he needs it. I'll go and open the front door. And again, to me, that's just the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't always be on everyone else. And
you obviously have a vested interest in your own company, like you do, because you own it and it's yours.
It's your
but
baby.
if you're going to get other people to invest themselves into it, they have to be treated well, don't they? And so
Absolutely.
it's like you're saying, you know, don't give someone something that you wouldn't be prepared to do yourself is a good motto, I would say.
But there is a balance, because there is a line that you want to make sure that you're the right side of that, because if you go too far, then you've got the point where the absolute breeds contempt, and then you've got people that maybe want to take advantage of that. That's the thing you're fine tuning all the time, because you're learning about people all the time. You're learning and understanding how they operate, how people. The biggest test for anyone is how they operate under pressure. You know.
And also when you're not around.
Yeah. Look, okay, so look, you're out of the business this week. I'm out of the business this week. Okay, yes, you have a mobile phone, but I shouldn't, or anyone in our position who runs a business shouldn't have to answer every single query that comes in, because if you do, you might as well do it yourself.
Yep.
You know, and you want to get to a point where people can be self-sufficient.
And I suppose that's also like it's still in a culture as well. And like I was particularly interested in asking this question because we're still at a stage where we're growing, but we're still at what I'd class as quite a manageable size. You know, everyone knows each other. Everyone's very friendly. So we're at about number about 10 at the moment in terms of team.
Still, it's a reasonable size.
It's a reasonable size. So the challenges just start to get a little different from when it's 4, 6. But I'd imagine that jump from 10 to 20 is a massive one.
It is.
And it's so I'm a novice at that because I've never had that many people before. So it's like how you, I suppose, you install a culture of, I speak about it with Patrick, decision making in terms of having the confidence to go and make a decision, crack on, and then if it happens to not be the right decision, we will then support that because at least you've made the decision. So if you get 9 out of 10 right, 9 things have happened. If you don't make a decision,
nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
I agree. And the thing is, a good leader should be able to listen as well as do themselves, because you're not going to do it right all the time.
Yep.
I won't do it right all the time. Every business owner here will not do it right all the time, and you've got to be able to listen. If you turn around and say, Darren, you're wrong because X, Y, Z, and you're sure, Darren needs to listen to you
Yeah.
and say, okay, you're right.
You have to have that respect, I think, to be able to do that. Like, I would feel comfortable saying that to you because I know that you would listen to me. But if you weren't, then I probably wouldn't tell you, and then maybe something would go wrong down the line. Like, you have to listen both ways, don't you? You know when your boss is right, and go with that, and know when to be able to speak up and say, actually, I don't think you're right on this one.
But if you create that atmosphere within your company that allows you to feel you can speak freely, without being rude, but just to say, say what you feel, then
it's got to be a benefit to the company.
yeah, absolutely. Because if you went and did something wrong and you knew it was wrong, and then you suffered because of it.
And that's what you're employing people for, is their expertise.
Absolutely.
As well. You can't know everything, so you're employing experts all the time. Otherwise, you wouldn't bother paying them all this money, a year to work for you. So
I used to think someone said sorry to cut across you. Someone said to me a long time ago, work to your strengths, employ to your weakness. And I just listened to a book. It's actually really good. David Goggins.
Okay.
Really good. It's called Don't Hurt. My first one's called Can't Hurt Me, and the second one's called Never Finished. It's really, really clever. This guy was a physically abused child, and how he went from being that to being a Navy SEAL. And it was his journey all the way through. Really good book.
Nice.
So he basically, one of his things he said was actually I never really thought about was work on your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. If you've already got your strengths, you're not going to lose them because it's you. But work on your weaknesses, and that's a really good point.
it is. It's the only way you can improve, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Work on your weaknesses. Okay, that's great. Well, now is my favourite part of the podcast. It's the quick fire round. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you get 2 seconds to think of your answer. First thing that comes into your head, you have to give me the answer. Okay. So, firstly, Rolex or Apple Watch?
Rolex.
Duran Duran or Stevie Wonder? Nice.
That's a hard
City break or beach break?
Beach break.
The Godfather or Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels?
There's not even up.
The Godfather.
almost didn't matter what come next, did it? Yeah.
Okay, and the final one, be honest, time or money?
time.
Oh yeah, and you've got a bonus question actually.
there is a bonus.
There's a bonus one for you. I might get the pronunciation wrong because this means nothing to me, but Darren was very keen on this. Klinsmann or Modric?
Kingsman or Modric? Kingsman.
Is that right?
It's got to be clean.
Kingsman, yeah. Kingsman.
And that's you done. Quick fire done. Thank you very much,
You're
Richard,
very welcome.
for
Thank
coming
you for
on our
having me.
podcast.
Ah, my pleasure. Honestly,
Thank you.
it's a real pleasure. And you know what? Money you can replace, you can't replace time.
Yeah, that is definitely what I would choose, time. But someone was honest this
Actually,
morning.
someone honest. No, come on.
Because we had a
No,
little
money.
chat about this, didn't we? We were like, everyone's going to say time. But
a
he
few
was like,
people
no
would
money.
He was like, no money.
He was like, I'm single, got no family. He was like, money.